Peace and lessons. Keep up the lessons. This is you know who, your brother Taalib from the Brother Taalib Show. Yeah, I'm here this evening to try to get with you guys, and inshallah, we're gonna get into some stuff. The subject matter is going to be based on Afridamus and his video that he had posted and uploaded up, of course, into the YouTube space, and he was talking about issues that have to do with being, Muslim, and if that's going to give you entrance into heaven, that you have to be Muslim, or being black. Pretty much, he was dealing with going into the Crayola crayon syndrome, as I call it. That's my point of view and what I, my terms I use. I call it the Crayola crayon color syndrome, which is still a result of racism, white supremacy, or any race supremacy, not just even white supremacy. Any race supremacy has perpetuated this type of, mental disorder. And I believe it is that. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a, expert in that area, but just from my experiences of, learning the traumatic, post-traumatic syndrome, these are the things that come about. People having issues with their identity crisis, all kinds of stuff that comes about through racism and the evils and the diseased type of thoughts of being a person who has an issue with race and are racist. You understand what I'm saying? So now all we're dealing with is the phenomena. We're dealing with the issues. We're dealing with the results, the spillover of racism, And like I said, the origin, and I've said this before plenty of times, Bismillah wa salatu salam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam amma ba'd. I'm just got to say that, to make sure that I'm covering myself spiritually, because this is my Islamic, aspect and sector, or, segment, actually, rather say segment of my show, Brother Taalib Show. And some of you already know. If you're not already subscribed, if you want to get in more of the future videos that I have and the videos that I do have in my my archive, and all the other videos that you want to get into to understand about Islam, or just social issues dealing with people of color, race issues, dealing with issues of making hijrah for you as a Muslim, and for non-Muslims coming together with Muslims, and what is the levels of our unity that we can go into. Of course, religious wise, we have differences, but when it comes to like regular social things that we can do, we can come together and we can unify. So I have videos on that. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed with me for that, so that you can benefit and even network. I'm a person about networking and coming together and trying to help and contribute to the building and rebuilding of our knowledge base that we need first, and mental base, because we need to reestablish that. Get out of being brainwashed by racism, brainwashed by race supremacy, whether it be the top one that we know of, which is the white supremacy that went all over the world with imperialism, white supremacist imperialism, and conquered and controlled people all over the world, as we see on the controversies in the news with the Queen and the King, new King Charles, and these people, the British, and what they've done, and for over those many years and hundreds of years that they've done what they've done, pillaging people's lands and taking their raw materials and enslaving of people from Africa. Those, who was involved, whether it was from our people there in Africa and people Arab and whoever, it doesn't matter. It's all evil. That's the point of it. There's no race thing. There shouldn't be no color thing, Crayola crayons thing in these issues of people being, just, we're gonna categorize everything to basically label, okay, upon what is your color, what is your color. I mean, your hues, your tones, and I mean, this is ridiculous. I used to be an art major in high school. Even before that, I learned about art. My grandfather passed on that trait, and in our family we have artists, from him. And then I've learned other people in the family. Even my daughter has inherited this trait of artistical skill. So I learned about colors to get to the point. I learned about the difference of colors and how you can break them down from one main primary colors. You understand what I'm saying? But it doesn't pertain to us. We're human. We're the ones who created colors. But Allah first, he allowed us to use our minds to do the things that we do and have been doing in this life. So it's not about, you know, who's the color, what color you should be, and you know, basically who's going to be accepted into heaven. And this is the point of the whole issue. But I wanted to let you know that I went over his video and I dealt with it. You understand? I dealt with it. And you know, you have different issues in this video. And the only thing I'm going to do is that I can do, because this is my first stream on YouTube. And the next time I'm going to deal with it on a level where I'm going to go piece by piece in the issues that he was, you know, covering. So I'm letting people basically, you know, deal with the understanding why is it so important about color. And color, when you take the word and you go into the English dictionary or any English, because it's an English word, you deal with it on the level of it being what it is. It's a color, it's hues, it's tones, that all goes together with color, right? But as far as us, we are human. We're not a color. We're human, right? Am I correct or am I wrong? You know, and welcome, you know, KBM to the live, if you're still here. Colors are created by nature, not men. Colors are created by nature, but when it comes to primary colors, when you're painting and when you're doing artwork, then, because like you say, black, right? Now there are black objects, there are black inanimated things in this life that are black, and there's white in inanimated life, like stones and rocks, and you have animals, right? We know this, right? We know the space is black, right? But it has stars that are perceived to our eyes, to where we can capture it visually as to be stars to be white, glooming, right? And the moon has a gloom. It's kind of grayish. It's a hue of gray, right? Not even exactly white. But they don't worry about these planets in the universe as the creator Allah created. Okay, first, we didn't create none of that up there. We have no control over. We can't barely even get up there. We have to have high levels of fuel in a machine and vehicle known as a rocket to get up into that space, into that universe, the first heaven, as we know in the Quran, that you speak about. And those of you who talk about, and I'm speaking as far as Afridamus, down about. You learn. What did you learn? I don't know what you learned, bro, because it doesn't seem like it's right. And you had to bring somebody, and that's the point that I want to touch on. I'm going to get to my point. You had to bring someone who's not even Muslim. And then you bring a Muslim, and you've been doing this regularly. You bring Muslims that don't even understand their faith correctly, that they make bad errors as well as you. And you're not even practicing the faith. You're not even involved in the faith anymore, from what we know and what we see from how you've been coming at Islam, right? So basically, what I wanted to reference to is this guy, Christian Prince. This is who you take your videos from, and you put your video reference on your video. And I will put your video in the link when I get the chance of the description, because right now I'm just going to cover these bases. I'm not going to allow myself to get diverted by anyone. I'll answer some questions here. If anybody wants to ask questions, you're free, or you want to touch base and put your comment in, I may speak on your comment, but I'm going forward with what I'm trying to speak on, because I realized that I was not going to be able to do the video with the reaction of pinpointing everything you said, Afridamus, or everything Afridamus said, and as well as what he allowed this guy, Christian Prince, who I'm speaking on. But Christian Prince, we know of him, that the knowledge is of him that you can find, because he's very secretive. He doesn't even like to show himself because he's afraid of people attacking him. I understand, especially wayward Muslims that don't know their deen correctly. They don't know their faith, and they're radical, and they go out and they harm people just because somebody talks down about the faith. There's not a prerequisite. There's not a knowledge of that from our Deen, from the Quran, from the Prophet's knowledge of his hadiths, and his statements and actions, that he has won up against people because they made statements verbally against the faith. Now, you go into war combative in a combative way and try to harm the Muslims, and that took a little while before Allah gave the revelation for them to battle a non-Muslim on a battlefield. Okay, there's revelations. There's levels of things in Islam. It's not just that vague. You can throw it out and you can come on a video screen and then start talking about Islam like you were scholaristic and you don't have no knowledge barely of it. The knowledge you have is wayward and confusing, because you confuse it because you might want to bring your agenda to get people to disbelieve in it and say, oh, well, we need to get all the Muslims out of Africa. This is what I feel, this is my point of view, what people like you are going into. You're creating a dissension and it's keep going on and you keep doing it, and you're not learning to say, oh, maybe I need to stop because I knew what happened in Rwanda. Yeah, because of the point of view of that person in media was talking, and he's there, and he was put to trial in the tribunal that led to the massacre in Rwanda. As we know, there's big time conflicts in Nigeria between Christians and Muslims because of their dissension that was leaked out and tweaked out, and it was behind the people who pretty much wanted it. They wanted it. They didn't want, because they wanted to have power on either side. You understand? So it spiraled out. You understand? So what we're doing here, when we get into these talks, are we benefiting each other with these talks? Are we benefiting each other with these talks? Are you truly, let's be sincere, my brother or sisters? Are you benefiting the Muslims? Are you benefiting people, human beings? I don't even talk about the Muslims. But you're not. You're not. This is no benefit for you to continue to keep talking about this stuff. You're just trying to keep your stage, and whatever ulterior motives you have, and Allah knows, and the patterns show. And I'm addressing it. So anyway, back to the point. You use Christian Prince to base your debates or your position that you took before in the other video that I did, almost 10, actually it's 10, because the last one, and you need to go and look at it and see for what I was talking about. Maybe you'll realize for yourself of your wrongs and errors. Afridamus. And those who follow and think that this is okay, from the whether you're a native African or you're African in the African diaspora of a descendancy part, or you was there, you made immigration, or your parents made immigration and you ended up in those lands that are not of the continent Africa. All right. But our process and our reason of what we're doing these things should not be based on that we're just trying to have a stage, or we're just trying to get people to listen, or we have ulterior motives because we want to get people away from something that we now, at this point in time, as we know, you grew up and you came away from the faith. You have some vendetta or something. I don't know what it is, or you might be. I'm just making accusations there. I could be wrong. You might be a daggone. You might be with the powers that be, coming against us to create diversion, and dissension between Africans. Period. I don't know. You can answer that question better and clear it, because the patterns, I mean, it's scary. Now you're coming at your fellow Africans, Muslims, okay, and you're coming at Arabs who are descendant Africans, because they're just mixed. Everybody's mixed in the world, period. I mean, let's get it real. We all got some sort of other kind of blood mixing us. I don't think you can find, and if you want to be scientific on that and go around the world and search and find, if you can find DNA, note that a person has no DNA of no other race in them, then so be it. Do your thing. And that's why it's so ridiculous and sickening, meaning mentally sickening to people to make 4-hour videos based on color. And again, let's get to the point. Christian Prince, he's one who tries his best to divert Muslims. This is the type of person you want to follow. A person who tries to divert the person from their faith, not to try to say, okay, I want to discuss, I want to understand, I'm sincerely want to understand why is there differences here in the faith of Islam? Why is there difference in here in this faith Christianity? What is the differences? What is all these things that I hear that the negatives, that if you have a problem with that faith as far as the negatives there, then you go and you want to question and to understand. And if you find that it is with proofs and evidences from your part, from both sides, that it is those things in that faith that which you have a problem with, then it's negative. Then you speak against it because you are a person of justice. Christian Prince is not a person of justice because when he speaks, he slanders a person and their faith, and he talks to them down. I know this guy. Let me tell you, I dealt with him and debated him, mashallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, meaning, it's by Allah's will, and I'm not putting myself up on no pedestal and no high level to say I'm better than anybody. But I debated this guy. I didn't even have the knowledge that I have today about my faith. And I debated this guy with simple things back in the time of Pal Talk. Any of you, I don't know if any of you know, because I'm 52 years old. I don't know if you if you was old enough to know about Pal Talk. And if you don't know it, Google it. And Christian Prince knows. If he doesn't remember, then maybe because he's gotten too old. But ask him, if you go and you have him dealing, you go to his site, you want to go back to his site, be a fool if you want. And especially for Muslims, you shouldn't even be going to his site, because if you don't have knowledge of your faith, he's gonna roast you. That's what he's known for doing. And this is who Afridamus put up in his video, in his stream, using his his references, right? And in a video that he was debating, may Allah guide the poor brother, the Somali brother, doesn't have enough knowledge of his faith to be able to debate this guy. And he kept going in on him and trying to get him to say and believe, and he slipped. The brother slipped so many times, and that was clear. I was like, why are you even bringing this guy out, Afridamus? He's not a scholar. He's not a person of knowledge that you can say and base and say, oh yeah, he Christian Prince dealt with him and brought him out and made him even admit that he was wrong and there's the wrongs of Islam. This guy didn't barely know his faith himself, let alone Christian Prince don't really know. Because if you knew, you would base your arguments on the basis of what the faith is based on. That's how if you want to break down a faith, or if you want to dismantle it, because that's what Christian Prince is about. He's about dismantling it so that he can rebuild you up to accept Christianity. Yeah, you didn't know that? You need to do your research. You talk about Afridamus, you talk about faith. That's what the other video was that I based 10 videos on yours of reaction, that you spoke about religion. So why are you using a Christian if you have a problem with religion? You're contradicting yourself, bro. And you use an Arab. Well, you want to base so you can have the people and be like, oh, okay, an Arab who's Christian dealt with a Muslim Somalian brother and roasted him out and told him a thing or two about his own faith. He doesn't even know his own faith, and he embarrassed himself. What kind of stuff is this, bro? This is beneficial to the people? No, it is not. That's my position. And I think a lot of people will agree with me. But anyway, Christian Prince also, he debates the people, and I'm reading because I'm trying to keep up with what I wanted to speak about, that would prove his points, also get confused, and eventually hope to bring doubt. Okay, that's a good thing. You want to bring doubt to a person, and that they would doubt themselves in their faith, and then eventually believing that exactly, which was false, a lot of false accusations. I can go by plenty of the stuff he talks about. And let me tell you also what he tries to do. I know him, okay? He'll try to use his Arab race, of him being from the Arab race. They say he was born in Saudi, and how he came against Islam is because of, he first was questioned about his Christianity, because he happened to be a Christian, brought up Christian Arab, or from Saudi. Not the predominant, like the predominant belief there is Islam, and predominant followers of Islam and believers are Muslim in Saudi and any part of the Khalij, any part of the Gulf countries, right? Over there, right? In Arabia. So he came at it. He said, "Oh no, you can question me and whatever, vindictive, that vindictive nature or feelings came out. He just went on with it, and it's been going through years and years and trying to go against Muslims and Islam. But I dealt with him, and the main thing that he tried to do is say, I am an Arab. I am an Arab, and I speak the language. You don't speak Arabic because you're not Arab." Huh? So you mean to tell me you can't go into Barnes and Noble or any bookstore in a country and get a book on how to learn Arabic? So you're going to say, "Oh, all that"? No, you got to be an Arab to know Arabic. That means, man, subhanallah, nobody can never speak another language, because they don't. That doesn't mean they can't learn it. So that's how he does, and he brings the doubt to you and tries to keep you from continuing to go deal with his issue and go up against or answer the questions that he's trying to ask you. But then then the point of saying is that he doesn't deal with the foundation of the faith. And when, like I said, if you're going to try to dismantle something, you got to go to the foundation. That's with a building. I'm a construction I still do construction slightly, but I'm old now, so I kind of retired from it. But I've done plenty of work in construction field. And this is just a scenario, okay? That when you when you want to build something, you have to have a foundation. And if you don't establish that foundation correctly, that building can come down. You understand what I'm saying? You have to excavate. The inspector has to come in, check the land. He has to inspect the land and survey the land and make sure it's proper for to be able to even put foundation in it. And then once the foundation is built, it has to be built properly. And then once the foundation is built, after it's known that it's built properly and surveyed again and inspected, then they can start going on up with it. And other things can be built on it. Tenants, like we know in Islam. There's tenants, there's pillars. Pillars. Why do they think they call them the 5 pillars? They're part of that foundation. But what is the foundation of Islam? Is Tawheed, Islamic monotheism. And who started this? Not Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If, as far as a knowledgeable thing, on a scientific level, it was Abraham. And he was neither African or Jewish or any of these people. He was from the land of Ur in Mesopotamia. Okay? And he didn't even, never, do you hear he speaks about his race? Some people try to make him a Jew, but he wasn't. He's the father of them. And this is another point. When it comes to us as human beings, we evolve, as they say, into different races. That's happened because it was one race first, which is the human race. And who was that? Adam and his wife. And they didn't talk about no color and hue with them. Sometimes people try to get nationalistic with it, and they want to bring nationalistic derivatives of knowledge and promote a sense of consciousness along with color. Not unlike to say that this is a human being, and the only understanding of color is what Allah said, what God said, or as we might say, right? And it was clay, red or brownish black clay with different hues of red and brown and black, right? But he didn't say, oh no, okay, doesn't mean that this is the person who is just a black person. No, this is the different hues and this different colors that was part of his being when he was created. Or to say that he wasn't white. But we know those colors of that clay is not just a straight color white like this. I got writing on that. Let's try to find like this. It's not like that. Okay. We know it's not like that. We know black, none of us is this color. None of us is black. Straight jet black like that. Okay. I'm black, but it's in a symbolic level. It's in a metaphoric, as you want to say it, if you want to say it that way. Meaning it's just that the color that is more closer to what I'm closer to is the color of black. It's more close to that. But black is a primary color. Did you not know that? White is a primary color. Did you not know that? When you mix black and white, you make gray. That's with Crayola crayons. That's with paint. When you go to, to the paint shops that you want buying paint for your house, you get little tubes you can put it into white paint, and it makes other colors. Or you could put black and then you put more white, or you put more lighter colors into that black. But black, okay, yeah, check it out, has a more dominant effect over the colors in paint. So now you don't get lost in the symbolism, because then you're going to get jammed up again. And I'm trying to take you away from that. But let's get back to the point. And this is a live, and so far I've only seen one person come in here, and that's fine. Okay, no problem. I appreciate those who click the like button for me, and thumbs up and everything. Those of you who are here, continue to comment, because let's get the comment going. Let's come on, because this is a good subject matter. But I'm touching on the subject matter of why this guy is coming at Islam again. So anyway, enough with the Christian Prince. Now I'm going to deal with Afridamus. Do not, when he was doing this video, and this is just so you can see for yourself. And when I come to you and I bring the reaction video that's going to be dealing with every of the points that I'm going to bring against or reacting to in relation to, because it's going to be within the reaction is going to be me bringing it up and speaking against it, because of course there's errors there. Again, there's errors there. And one error is when you are going to bring a point against anything, and even in a court of law, you have to have clear, concise evidence for everybody to see. The court on either side, or the whether it's the prosecutor, and I'm talking about a court of law, prosecutor, or the defense attorneys, or what have you. When there's evidence that's given, or they want to give evidence, they have to give it to the judge, or they have to get permission and to include it into the courts, or that it's going to be presented to a jury if they have a jury, what have you, right? Evidence, proofs, and evidences. And everybody has to see. They give a copy. They have a copy for the judge. They go, here, Judge, Your Honor. And they have a copy for the other side. And they give it to them so they can see it. Now, my point is, Afridamus, on your video, and I'm speaking to you too, but I'm speaking to those who were watching him, or who watched him and got wooed by, oh, wow, he has it posted, the evidence right there of the Quran. You can see Quran, you can see tafsir, and you can see hadith. No, you can see the writings, and who's to say all of that was from authentic documentation, from authentic proofs and evidences, that is actually from authentic hadith, that is actually from authentic tafsir. Even though I heard the man, Christian Prince, mention, oh, this is tafsir Ibn Kathir, which is one of the most, everybody says that. Everybody refers back to Ibn Kathir, because he's the one of the most greatest tafsir of Quran scholars. And most of what he's put out is been authenticated. We know this. So of course you're going to say that, Christian Prince, if you hear this. You know what I'm saying? And I would like to say too, one thing, not to put myself on a pedestal, but I would love to debate him again. And I'm going to bring him to me, because, everybody, when you come into people's panels or whatever, they have a control over what they're going to do. They'll cut you off, and they'll mute you and all that like that. No, I'm not going to do it unless you're going and slandering my faith, and I'm going to mute you on that. But if you have a point and you're trying to make your point, okay, don't say, oh, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like I've heard you say, is a devil. A'udhu billahi min dhalik. May Allah protect us from the shaitan and those of him that do that he would do, because that's evil to talk about any of Allah's prophets in that manner. No respect. No respect. You understand? So the point I'm saying is that Afridamus did not show the evidence with clear proofs correctly. Now, I'm not going to say he didn't try, but if you're going to bring it out, bro, you got to show where and your sources are where they're from, where are your sources coming from. Show me the ayat, the numbers of the verses, so then we can do our research as a defense lawyer, because you're prosecuting, right? You're prosecuting against Islam, and you and your Christian prince as a high level witness or whatever you want to say. We're going to use it like that in that terms. Use a kind of scenario like that, right? We're in court. I'm defense. So now you need to bring me that evidence so then I can verify that evidence is clear and concise. You understand? So pretty much that's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Oh, hold on for a second. Let me just try to cut that off real quick. Okie dokie, I'm returning. All right, so back to where we were at. So Afridamus, he posted these videos, and if you notice, you will see only the writing of a verse, or whether it was tafsir, or whether it was hadith that African, or not African, I was going to say Afridamus, but I mean Christian Prince had posted, because that's what I see, that Afridamus posted Christian Prince's post while he was dealing with the debate, I guess, right? And he was trying to bring the proofs. So you could not see all of it, because there was some cutoffs on some ends. And I'm not saying he purposely did that, but I don't know. Allah knows best, and he knows. Or that he cared to want to give you the source to be able to find it on your own and go behind what he says and say, okay, yeah, this is correct. Or no, you're wrong. Didn't give no transparency. You understand what I'm saying? So there's no numbers of the Quran, the surah. There's no chapter number. There's no verse numbers, right? For you to go and trace back or follow up on going behind what they do. Because as a Muslim, and you learn this in Islam, if you don't know it as a Muslim, anyone, especially if he's non-Muslim, that makes accusations about your faith, you need to go behind and do your own due diligence and go behind them and find the evidence. Ask them for that evidence and go behind them. Don't just take from what they that because of what a position they might be in. No. That's not the principle or prerequisite or the way that we're supposed to do when it comes to them. And even Muslims you have to find, because some Muslims are wayward, some Muslims are deviant, and you got to go back behind them as well. Okay. KBM says he grew up as a Muslim. That's understood. That's fine. That's great. Well, okay, KBM. I'm not sure if because I'm thinking that's Afridamus. It says the Afridamus report, who is live now. Oh yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm sorry, KBM. If I said it, I was speaking to you as though you was, because I could have sworn that it seemed like this was Afridamus, but I'm not sure. So anyway, I appreciate you being here and then you bringing your statements out. But back to the point, Afridamus did not give you the chance or give you the opportunity to trace back and go behind him to make it transparent. You gotta make that transparent when you're making accusations like this. Okay. So now the other thing is, which is that I wanted to address, is that what is the sources and who were the people who Christian Prince used to base these tafsir from, whether they were hadith from, and even the Quran, because tafsir is supposed to be interpretation of the Quran. So if you don't have proper interpretation of the Quran, now you're going to have a problem Okay, now it's not you're going to be your proof is not substantial. It doesn't stand. Doesn't have a good firm stance against people who you say denying or in denial want to, like you said, bounce around, do gymnastics to try to avoid what someone's trying to put and push. Because Christian Prince, he tries to push it to you. Let me teach you, brother. Like, how you going to teach me? I'm Muslim. You're not. How you going to teach me, man? How you going to teach me about my own faith? That's the thing that anybody thinks that they can do that hasn't spent time in that faith. Christian Prince, according to him, he's never been a Muslim. And he made a statement that I have recorded that when he was I guess he was in an interview, that he said, no, I was never Muslim. I wouldn't be a fool. On quote from him. And you can research that on your own. You can even Google it, because that's what I did. Okay, because I was trying to find out about him a little more than when I last debated with him, which I knew him as being this guy coming into the chat groups of the Muslims and trying to debate us and trying to bring doubt. We call it shubahat. We have books on that. You understand? Islam covers everything, every aspect of life, because it is a way of life. It means deen al-Islam. Bil adillah. The deen of the faith and the way of life of Islam, submitting to Allah, the one deity worthy of worship, and the proofs that Allah gives to us, which is his Quran and his Prophet's way and his statements. The Quran and the Sunnah. This is what was left for us. The Prophet, before he died, he said, do not worry. Know that I'm human, that I'm going to die. That's why we don't worship him. He clarified Tawheed for us. For 13 years, he clarified who's God. He didn't call himself, yeah, I'm God, I'm a smaller God, God body stuff. No, he didn't do that. We don't do that. Muslims that know correctly what their aqidah is, their concept of understanding of belief, they're not, and they're going to stand firm. That's why we get the respect from the people who give the respect, that want to give the respect, because they don't carry biasness. They open-minded. They say those Muslims, those that they know about Muslims who are wayward. They know they're not. Everybody's not stupid. They know Muslims who don't implement their faith, who are weak with it, who are negligent, and they know the Muslims who are strong. And that's the people they put in front of them and give them respects due, because they live up to their faith. They have to give them respect. Those are respectable people, because they respect themselves and they respect their faith. They don't defile it. They don't just come out of nowhere like the brother, and I'm not trying to talk down about him, the Somali brother that was in that debate with Christian Prince, that Afridamus used him, as he's been using regularly, coming with try to bring people who don't have much knowledge about the faith. Like that's the basis of where you can bring knowledge against the faith. On people who don't even know their faith well and don't even practice it well. They haven't sat with a scholar and learned from several years studying, whether it was a specific area of Islam, or as much as they could before they died, and then they might have become a scholar too. This is how it goes. Scholars give acknowledgement to other scholars and say who that person is after they know that they've spent their time and due diligence of learning. You understand? In Islam, there's no, because he went to a college, university. That's something new. The old original ways is that you sat down with a scholar and you learned and you studied with him. Like me, I'm not a scholar. I don't ever nobody call Brother Taalib a scholar. And that's why I have the name Taalib, because I'm a student of knowledge, and I'm always going to be, I'm a seeker. And also Taalib means seeker. But seeker of what? Taalib al-ilm. I'm not a Taalib al-ilm either. I've strived on the path of Taalib al-ilm, meaning a student of knowledge. Ilm is knowledge. But I'm not, at this point in time right now, especially today, right now. I'm a family man. I work and I'm YouTubing. I'm a YouTuber. And I study whatever time that I put out the time that I do, and I should be putting more. Get it. Keeps it real, 100. I can be better than what I am, but I don't put myself on a pedestal. No, but I learn what I learned. I'm going to teach. Each one teach one. I'm only going to teach and go as the distance that I know. I'm not going to go beyond the scholars, beyond what the teachers, what the the people of ilm have taught me, through whether they were student of knowledges that taught me of what they taught them, or I actually listened to a scholar, because I've been in the presence of scholars and might have been struggling with the Arabic because I didn't know Arabic that well, but I had somebody who translated for me. You know what I'm saying? Or I knew what they were saying because I learned that part of the Arabic. Like I tried to tell that Christian prince at the time, I knew some Arabic, but I wasn't nobody who's very knowledgeable of how to speak certain things. I wouldn't understand what you're saying, but I can find it. I know where to go to find it. I know how to go into Arabic dictionary and look for it and get it. So don't get it twisted. Just because you got me at the time in this video or this on this platform and or this chat room, and you trying to get me, you're not gonna get me, because I'm gonna also stay on point of what we need to speak about. And we're not gonna go into all these other areas, because all those other areas going into heaven and what race or what color you are isn't the importance of what Islam is based on. That isn't the importance. That's part of the aspect, a factor of Islam to know and have knowledge of. There's nothing wrong with knowing and having knowledge of, but you don't base a whole 4-hour video or so forth live on how the people are going to be determined of what race and color they're going to be to go into heaven. This is ridiculous, man. It doesn't make no sense. You're caught up into race, like forget it. It's bad, man. And any of brothers and sisters who are caught up into this stuff with this race stuff and color, you don't realize the loss that you have. You don't realize that you're limited. You're limiting yourself. You'll never go to the highest level of being a person of humanity. You never go to the level that you can really cope and deal and try to bring humanity together and deal with the evils of what humanity does and be able to deal with them accordingly. Because you can't, because you have color behind, you have colored mentality in your brain. Be fogging you like smoking marijuana, puffing. You got too much smoke in your brain. And even with that, you everybody chooses what they want to do with themselves and their bodies, but befogging your mind, intoxicating yourself, you really can't be a person who can decipher and break down knowledge. Trust me. I know my past, and I'm not going to even have to put it out there and reveal to anybody about what I've done in my past. But intoxication is another thing. But also with the likes of an extreme position that you take on race, or extreme position that you take anything in social life, even if it's a culture, you're overly cultural, extreme on any end, you're gonna jam yourself up. You're not gonna, because we're supposed to be balanced. Allah guides us and all the Muslims. I can know that for a fact, as a Muslim, to be balanced. When it comes to race and color, if you want to deal with color, meaning on the symbolic terms of it, that we are colored through our colors. So you want to deal with that, then there's only what Allah says and His messengers say about it. Why? Because they have the best guidance and understanding of how we're supposed to deal with each other without different colors. How are we supposed to deal with each other without different races? That we should come to know each other. This is one of the verses in the Quran. So a devil is not going to tell you how to come together. The devil's going to try to take you apart. So the Prophet Muhammad, he taught this. So you call Christian Prince calling him a devil. A'udhu billah min dhalik. We seek refuge from him. And any shaitan or human shaitan, because that's what he perceived to me. And that's just my opinion. That's my point of view. That man has like a shaitan with him. Has a shaitan that rolls with him, moves with him. When he does what he's doing, he's trying to misguide people from their faith and make them apostates. That's a shaitanic way. You can see that with any religion. A devil is the one who's going to try to take you away from your religion. Now, guidance is from Allah. So the devil never guides. He'll tell you some of truth. Yeah. Shaitan will never guide you to benefit yourself. He's going to use truth to help to misguide you, because he's going to flip it. He's going to flip it on you. And we learned that. So Afridamus, you need to be careful. You're dealing with a person who has shaitanic nature to him, Christian Prince. And hey, I challenge him. Come to me. Come to one of my lives. See my live. Come in and sit down, and I'll give you a time to debate you, Christian Prince. Because all these years, I've been seeing you, and some brothers and some people who debated you got you. But the other people might on your side, and especially those Christians who support him and trying to make evangelistic maneuvers against Muslims to try to turn them away from their faith and make them Christians, they're for you. They're with you too. You know, and then you have people that are with you that are from other ulterior motives to try to stop Islam, because they know Islam brings in different positions of how human beings should be on this earth, that some other human beings have a problem with, because it's going to give them a position of no more hierarchy. They're going to be more on a balanced level, on an even scale of things. That's why it's an outwardly full-fledged attack, ideological attack against Islam on many levels. And we know this, not just war, not just killing the Muslims that they've been doing, or occupying their lands and maneuvering and taking them out of their lands and taking their resources and so forth. But the ideological attack on the level of media, it's been going on for a long while. And you, Afridamus, are partaking into that. And I see through it, and I hope the rest of the Muslims can see through it. So we can deal with you and let you be known out there that you are seeking to do this. Not that you're trying to see, because you're coming again. It'd be one thing that you did that last video that I did all those 10 videos to react to you. Maybe you could have got it right there and said, okay, let me watch this brother's video. Maybe catch yourself. But arrogance is a block. Okay. So maybe you could have caught yourself and said, maybe he's right. Maybe I need to stop this, because I remember Rwanda. I remember all the other nations of people in Africa and different countries that went up against each other within civil warfare in their own countries because of stuff like this. Because people got on the media and they were pro this on this side of this, what is political a group against another political group or tribe. Tribalism, basically. That's what it is. Okay, so we're in how long we're in? 48 minutes. I'm gonna do a little more time, and I appreciate again those of you who've come in. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button for this video if it's beneficial to you. I'm not trying to come in as a conflictive way. I'm trying to bring you so you can have a better understanding of what this brother is trying to do. So then you can avoid from falling into the same path of what he's trying to do or what he's been doing, and what can be the results of it. Negative results, because there's a lot more on the level of negative results that can come about what he's doing than there's positive. Then there's people being able to rise up and help continue to build their nations and people together, and the African diaspora coming together also to help do so and contribute to the growth of or regrowth of Africa, because we've been put into darkness, or the giant has been put to sleep. He was stuck with all these needles and put to sleep, or darts, like they do when they come in. They come into Africa and they kill the animals and take their ivory, elephants or skins, and they may not kill them, but they'll shoot them with the darts, tranquilizing. That's what I wanted to say. So the giant, the great Africa, has been tranquilized by colonialization, by slavery, by occupation, by economical exclusion. Not inclusion. This is what we need. We need economical inclusion on a global scale. the Africa to be able to get up to that level, to be able to be back in their place. How Mansa Musa had it for him in his empire, and Mali had it for their empire, or all the different empires in Africa that rose up, and predominantly these empires that rose up to those levels, that they would be on a hierarchy, or the Egyptian empires, and before that, and all these empires, because they had major positions of organized and unified. Even though we know like I said, with the Egyptians, they used slavery for a lot to build a lot of their establishments, of whether it's their pyramids, or their structures of beauty and greatness, and then their economical infrastructure, and their war machines, military structure and strength and all that. They might have used more on a slavery basis. And then you had Babylon did somewhat, but I don't know too much about how they built up their empire. And even, I'm not even talking about the European empire. Forget it. European empires or the Asian empires. I'm talking about Africa. This is the issue here with Afridamus. The Afridamus. Supposed to be an African brother, but sometimes, come on. If you're going to bring people together, I don't know what you're doing there, man. I don't know what you're doing, and what is your ulterior motives. What is your motives? We need to know this before I follow any of the stuff you bring in. And I'm catching too many errors with you, and you're doing it again. That's my topic. That's my thumbnail. I had to do that so you people know he's doing it again. I did 10 videos to go over and react to him, and he didn't get the message. But of course, when you have arrogance, you don't care. You don't have an open mind to say, okay, maybe I made an error. Like I said already. I'm not going to say it again. But okay, we're 52 in. To close out, you need to know the truth. You need to know what is correct about Islam. And the only way you're going to know that is if you go to the person, and not just Islam, any religion. That's a norm of how you should approach when you want to sincerely bring out and discuss and dialogue with a people. Okay, properly, with respectful dialogue. Okay, without slandering, without making fun of. You understand? This is not the proper way of dialogue, because then you close people up. People get closed, and they close themselves up, and they want to get away from you, or they might fight you. That's the worst of it, because they might not be able to control their emotions. So this is why it's a very serious matter. It's very serious, and he keeps doing it, and he's not realizing. I pray that nothing happens to him, that some wayward, extreme person that is Muslim comes to him wherever he's at, and they might do something to him, because he's following behind the path of Christian Prince. Why do you think Christian Prince hides himself? He's following behind the guy who created the satanic verses, Salman Rushdie. He's following behind Ayan Kursi. She used to be a Somalian, and then she had her crusade. She helped with the crusade of going about against Islam and defaming Islam, debating people. But with her, she was more respectful. She was debate with people who were people who were respectful in dialogue and debate. But Christian Prince, oh man, forget it. That guy, he's ridiculous. He's all about trying to roast you and over speak you, and don't have no respect for your faith. No respect. So that's the point. You got to find out what's correct about what he's doing. If it's going to benefit you, you got to do your own due diligence to go behind. You can't even, like I said, it's not transparent when he did these videos. You can't even find out what's the proof that he brought from the sources. You only see it what he put out and posted, but not where's the source. Okay, when you bring a Quranic verse, there should be the number of the surah and the number of the verse or verses. Simple. If you bring tafsir, you should know which book of tafsir, because they're volumes. Okay, I'll show you one. Let me see if I can pull it out. Here's one. Here's one right here. This is volume 5, Ibn Kathir, right? In English. This is an English translation, let alone the Arabic. Okay, that's a whole nother story. And it says it has Surah Hud. It talks about Surah Hud and Surah Al-Isra. And you have verse 35. If I can see 33, I'm sorry. My eyes are a little blurry because I'm getting old there. But you know, in the library here that I use, I try to make sure it gets used. I got my children, I get on them and say, hey, get up in here, and I get up in here. That's why I put the library back in the backdrop, because I usually have my other backdrop, and it's with Saudi, a picture that I took from Saudi, and I post that into the backdrop because I like that. You know, I just like that background for myself, because it's like a remembering of what I did when I made my Hajj in Saudi. You know, and it's something emotional to me. It's something that I hold as sentimental to me. Okay, but anyway, again, you know, you just got to know what we're dealing with in relation to him and anybody who speaks like this. And I'm talking first to the Muslims, because as non-Muslim, I don't expect you to have that position, to take that position and be, you know, have an emotional stance to say that somebody's attacking your faith, because it's not your faith. So I understand that. Or if you're Buddhist, or if you're, you know, Jewish, or if you're any other faith. But if you look at it and say, yeah, look how the people are coming at the faiths, the religion, then maybe you also feel some type of way a little bit and say, listen, I understand where the Muslims are coming from. I understand why they have to spend so much time, because they're highly always attacked, because they don't want Islam to be in the mainstream of things. Even though it's continuously growing, you can't stop Allah. This is his faith. It's not ours. He gave it to us as a mercy, so that we would be in the proper position with him after he takes everything out, like the hurricane did over there in Florida. When Allah takes everything out, it's going to be worse than a hurricane. You understand? It's going to be hurricanes. Zilzalaha. Look at that surah. Look that surah up. You want me to get it for you? Let me get it for you. Because that's where we're going to meet. We're going to meet that last time, that last day. Surah Al-Zilzalaha. Let's look this up. I'm going to try to find it for y'all real quick. And then I'm going to let you guys go, because I want you to know what the Muslims try to base their life on. And I'm one who's been Muslim for over 20 years. And I know what I have to base my life on. And my life is based on submitting to Allah and trying to please him. Because at the end of it all, as Surah it says, Surah Al-Zilzalaha, the earthquake. It says in the first verse, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, when the earth is shaken with its final earthquake. وَأَخْرَجَتِ أَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, and when the earth throws out its burdens. Isn't that happening now? But we haven't reached that high level earthquake. And it says, وَقَالَ إِنسَانُ مَالَهَا, and mankind, all of us, all races, all colors, will say, you check the UN, different colors there, will say, what is the matter with it? UN's global forum, or the economical forum. They're discussing mankind struggling with starvation and famine in certain countries. The Zilzalaha is going to overcome all of that, all of these struggles, all of these trials and tribulations. And we're going to all come to meet our Lord. We're going to all come to meet our Rabb, Al-Alaq. Al-Khalaq, the creator of all things. The universe, the earth, we live, Ard, and us. Whatever color and race we are. It's not going to matter. And it's not going to matter when you go into heaven, because Allah does not state and make a major position out of all what he speaks in this Quran, this is an English translation, the Noble Quran, which is the best. This is the best commentary. Look into this one if you want to deal with commentary. Noble Quran. Okay, more proofs and evidences that are in line with the Prophet's statements, because he's the first interpreter of the Quran anyway, not Ibn Kathir. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions left after that. So, but basically, Allah does not mention. I don't care how much you want to say colors are going. This color is going to only be accepted into heaven, and you want to interpret it your way, and you want to interpret it somebody else's way, or you want to go to a website and think that that's okay because that's your proof, to give you the proof that that's the proper interpretation of what Allah says in Arabia. And then this man, because he speaks Arabic, because he thinks he's a linguistic professional specializing in linguistics of a language, which he's not. Because even when he speaks, when I heard him speak, and I know pronunciation of Arabic because I had to study it. I spent a few months to try to study and learn Arabic. You have to be precise when you say the Arabic language. You can't be lazy with it. And some Arabs that have the Arab tongue from there because they was born and raised as an Arab are lazy with their own Arabic. And they call it Armeya or Atmeya, however they might pronounce it. Ameya, right? Which is like a slang for them, which is mixed with other words that come from other languages. Let's keep it 100. Don't get it twisted. You understand? So if you say, and you want to say, because I'm Arab, you're not Arab, Christian Prince. That gives a prerequisite, or that says, oh no, you can't speak, you can't talk to me because I speak Arabic, because I'm Arab. But you're lazy with it, dude. I heard it. Times when he spoke it, I said, wait, that word, that's not pronounced by the majority of the Arab-speaking people and the majority of the scholars. They're the ones who perfect that to the best of their ability, that it was mentioned from the Quran, how that's supposed to be spoken, or the hadiths in that Arabic, how that word's supposed to be presented. And they learned the meaning. They spent years learning the meaning. What years you spent to learn the meaning of some of these Arabic words that you try to talk about, like the divergence in the hurus, the horin. See, sometimes I stumble because that's not my tongue. Hurin, right? The fair maidens in paradise, or the colors of the people. Aswad. Does it say Aswad in that verse that you're talking about? There's going to be only black people. Or black people are not going to be presented into or be able to enter paradise. Where? I haven't seen that yet. But you're going to take and put the words and post them in and try to translate it to your wording, or use the translation that's there, because now it's in English. It's not Arabic anymore. And follow from people who might have not had a clarity of the understanding of that interpretation. They use a deviant interpretation, or from a deviant scholar that wanted to go on his own with a fabricated hadith, or something that the Prophet, when he gave an interpretation of that verse or those words in that verse. Now you're dealing with kalam, kalimun, the kalam, the word, okay. Besides the harf, besides the letter, you're dealing with the kalam. Okay, the kalimat. Excuse me. Let me get it right. Kalimat. See, and I still have stuff up there. I'm getting older. Sometimes I don't review myself, and I have to. But stuff comes back out. Alhamdulillah, from Allah, not from me. So any words that I make errors in, that's me. That's my imperfection. I'm human. But what is proper and correct is from Allah. Know that. So basically, that's all I'm saying. And I'm 1 hour and 4 minutes in or so. And I'm hoping that I got to you, brothers and sisters, and that you will learn. I'm sorry. Let me look at the comments real quick and give them some, some acknowledgement. Wonder Woman, salam alaikum. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I appreciate your input. says exactly 100%, 100%, 100%. And Wonder Woman Islam is the most growing in Islam is the most growing in the world. Correct, religion in the world, and that's a proof. See, proofs are not only in textual writing. Proofs is also in experience and happening. Yes. So what's happening in the life? You can have a problem with the Muslims growing and the Muslims coming closer to their faith in your country, Afridamus in Gambia, and they're wearing the garbs now, or you go to other African countries and you see this, but it's happening. You cannot stop it, bro. So just chill, sit down, do what you have to do, trying to bring the people together. Because from what we're seeing, and if everybody has an open mind and they're not biased, just like pro Afridamus, and you're not blind following him, and you're like an open person, you you might listen to him, you might watch his videos and stuff like that, but you're gonna make your own judgment. You're gonna make your own take your own position. You know what I'm saying? You might say, I agree with some of what he's saying, but I don't agree with it. That's how I am. And a lot of stuff I don't agree with when it comes to my faith, because he's making too many errors. But I don't know why. He knows why. And that's the point. So be careful, people. Know why. Know what he's about. Cute niece, Afridamus risks being left behind. The world is coming to Islam. Correct. We don't even have to do nothing. We don't have to do. I don't have to go out like I used to. When I was young and learning about Islam, I came to Islam. I thought that I had to propagate to the non-Muslims so they can come into the faith. But I found out that propagation is even first and foremost to the Muslims to get them to understand their faith better. As I learn, so if I learn a surah, I'm going to teach my brother or my sister, well, more or less my brother, because we don't mix when it comes to faith to the Muslims. Not supposed to, because of a difference in sex and attraction, and we want to keep that from the wrong, being in its wrong place, and stay in its place, which is marriage and proper way of how you approach marriage. Islam is totally, it promotes decent lifestyle. Okay, not indecent lifestyle or outside of what the Creator brings. And that's why you have people who, when they leave the faith and they come into atheism, they attack any faith because they want to be able to live up to their desires. And their desires might be indecent according to the Creator, to God and his laws, like came to Moses and the laws that he had to bring to the people when they was rejecting. Some of them did. And the believers that didn't reject, they went forward. And that's how it is now with Muslims. People who are becoming Muslim, like she says, cute niece, is that they are accepting to know that this is the decent life for them. This is the best life for them on this earth, because everybody got their choice of life and culture and tradition. Now, if your cultures and your traditions are not pleasing to Allah, and this is what Islam is based on, it's based on a pleasing to the Creator gave him life. That's the only reason why Allah will give you paradise, not because of your color. He's going to give you paradise, hold your deeds accountable that you did here. That's first and foremost on the day of Yom Qiyamah, on the day of judgment. But Afridamus don't speak about that much. I don't hear Christian Prince, because they're not in that level. They're not on that level. They are below that level. They're dealing with colors. They're dealing with whether it's slavery of a human being. And they want to try to pin that on Islam, not on the human beings that do the wrongs. Like the sister, even I can't remember, the Somali sister, she came in and tried to deal with him on the video that I did all my videos in reaction to. Ponte Prince or something, I can't remember. Punte, I can't remember, but she did pretty good. And even she did a video of her own and stream, and she tried to let him be known. How you gonna go upon, like Afridamus is doing, on wayward Muslims and what they do? Boko Haram. Most of the Muslims in Africa know they're wrong. Come on. Shabab, we know. Look at it in Somalia. They have pretty much all the whole government and people against them, because they're incorrect in their understanding and interpretation of the faith. We don't use them as to represent the faith. So why you keep doing it, Afridamus? Come on, man. Why you keep getting police and you saying, oh, they embarrass themselves and they don't realize it? Why are you using him? Because you want to get the people who are just being blind followers or naive to listen to you and to follow suit. Africans, especially because they're not Muslim. I know most of the Muslims that are taking heed and listening to what he's saying are not Muslim. They're non-Muslim Africans. Not to talk against them, because they might be naive. They might not know any better. They're just going along. Go, oh yeah, especially if they have biases that they grew up with against Muslims in their lands that they live. They're gonna follow that. That's the emotion is geared up to and connected with that. It's connected with their biasness. So they're gonna follow suit with you, Afridamus. And you used to be raised as a Muslim. So now it's like, oh yeah, he came away, just like a Christian prince that tries to get plenty of those Muslims that are weak in their faith to do what you've done and now become enemy to Islam. It's sad. But anyway, that's all. I appreciate you, brothers and sisters, listening. African diasporan and my African native African brothers and sisters, Muslim or not. Okay, because then when at the end of the day, we are brothers and sisters of the human race. If you're not a Muslim, but if you're Muslim, then you're closer to me because you're a Muslim. Okay, but of course, I'm going to give respects due, and I'm going to be there for the people who are not as well, because you are from the human race. And even if you're white, black, red, yellow, green, purple, and we really don't have all those colors, but we have hues with all that type of color. Person can get purple when they get sick. Yeah, mm-hmm. People be pale sometimes, looking like a white person, and they might even be black. So come on, let's get away from this Crayola crayon disease mentality too, which we know as racism, that has affected us like this. That's where we're caught up in. We're still stuck. It's still there. We're still in the matrix. You didn't let Morpheus take you out of the matrix. You're still caught up in it. Stop. Let's get out of it and wake up and move beyond this. Get on the level of where Allah created us to be, and that we all have a position in this life, and we all deserve freedom, and we all deserve liberty and happiness. There's nobody over the other, and so forth. And when we die, we want to be in the proper position. So when we are going to meet our Maker, we meet him on the best position that he will give us the benefit of going into the next life, which is the real true life. This is a temporary life. It's clear. That's why there's graveyards. That's why there's of our loved ones and whatever and people we know are in their graves, or who died and we never found their body, or they was burnt to smithereens, however they died. That's why people die. That's why death is a reality. A lot of people don't want to accept it because they want to live this life and enjoy it. They don't want to die. Some people don't want to. So they deny it, or they stay away from it. They don't talk about it. They don't want to think about it. But you have to, because when time comes, you're gonna have no choice. You're gonna be right there on your deathbed, or whatever position you are gonna meet the Maker, or meet your death. So this life is temporary. So it's what you do in it, doing it now is what matters. Until then, especially when you are going to go out of it. So I hope and pray that everybody be on the proper path. May Allah guide you to Al-Islam, Allahumma ameen, and that you're guided correctly. And you're not going to be away with Muslim ameen. And you're not going to be a person who's going to make Islam look bad. And have people like Afridamus and Christian Prince to be able to use it against us. Allahumma ameen. And that we portray and be the light and that beacon of light to the rest of the world to show what Islam truly is, not what these people want to accuse us of because of other people's evils and wrongs that portray themselves to be Muslim. Okay, so let's get it correct. Let's get the evidence. Let's get the proofs. Let's follow behind the people of knowledge, and let's get it right. And then Afridamus has to get it right. So we make dua for him. May Allah guide him back to Islam. Allahumma ameen. And I state that I don't want bad for him, but I don't want him to continue to create bad, because he's creating it. People's hearts, you don't have no control over that, Afridamus. You don't have control over people's mentality. Be careful, bro. It's not good. Get it together, straighten yourselves out, and do what's right, and it's going to be benefiting us as a people, because we are still behind. And we have to gain control of our position that Allah gave us that right in this life, from the continent throughout the whole entire world. But the continent of Africa is included with all the other continents, and its people all should be included into everything that we have rights to, that we've been given and granted as a human being. And that's my position. So peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. This is your brother Taalib from the Brother Taalib Show. Have a good evening, and I'll see you soon in my other videos, inshallah. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. And those who was in the comment space, I appreciate your comments and everything as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you can get other videos. Click that, notification bell, so then you can get more videos from me and keep on going. Also, I have another channel called Crypto B-Boy, which I deal with crypto investment and crypto technology and digital asset technology that's we're going into the future with, as well as AI and all that type of stuff. But that's a major phenomena, and it's known as the internet of value. Okay, so go there to Crypto B-Boy. I'll post it also as my channel, and you can get some knowledge if you're interested in that area of crypto and cryptocurrency investment or other things, just to get some knowledge about it. And also business. I deal with business and aspects of how to create yourself as an entrepreneur and build yourself up through that, from the basis of it, and getting to the point where you actually have a business and what you can do. And then certain videos that I've put out, even in Brother Taalib's channel, that talk about the things you can do to better your business if you are an entrepreneur already. Sometimes we all struggle and stumble in that. So I'm just putting that out there. Those of you who are new to my channel and so forth. So I'm all about trying to be productive and try to raise us up as a people, not just us as a people, but anybody. Even if you're of another race and another color, doesn't matter, because you can take that what I'm speaking about and utilize it for your benefit. I try to speak on levels that it's going to benefit you in somewhat manner. You can turn it into how you want to turn it to fit you. You know, each one teach one. That's what it is. All right. Thanks again. I'm out. Y'all be good. Peace and blessing. Keep up the lessons. Your brother Taalib from the Brother Taalib Show. Have a good one.